All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yasha Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo-Hebrew. All right, now I want to go into a lesson through the spirit on this recent video from Jimmy Dore. It reads, FBI targets Black Uhuru movement. All right, now I want to go into this because it relates to prophecy in the way. All right, for those who don't recall or remember, at a certain point, Esau had put on the books this term of Black identity extremists, and that was put in the books for a reason. When you think about the condemnation of so-called white supremacy and so-called white supremacist groups in the last 4 or 5 years, all of that is it's a strategy. All right. And basically, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we understand that eventually Esau is going to come down with great wrath. All right. But before he does that, he always puts these things in the books first. All right. So let's go here first. It's Revelation chapter 12 and 12. And it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." All right, and Esau knows that his time is coming to, it's coming to that season finale. So he's going to come down with great wrath. All right, now, Esau coming down with great wrath accomplishes two things. All right, the persecution of the church, but also the famine of the word. All right, that's going to also happen as well, because the ministry was meant to wake up the elect, to seal the elect. Once that's done, the ministry will be withdrawn from the public eye, if you will. It'll be censored. All right, and there's legislation on the books for that as well. All right, so without further ado, let's play a little bit of this. I want to grab a couple articles. Lord willing, this be edifying.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Duluth, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Okay, so maybe you don't know about this story, but it's super important, which is why I'm bringing it to you. The FBI conducted coordinated raids against Black Liberation Organization, and this was another outgrowth of Russiagate garbage, right? On July 29th at 5 a.m., the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation conducted a violent raid on the home of Omali Yeshitela, the chairman of the U.S.-based African People's Socialist Party in St. Louis, Missouri. In a video posted the next day, Yeshitela claims the FBI deployed flashbang grenades, carried automatic weapons, damaged the property of his neighbors, including smashing windows, and handcuffed himself and his wife. Yeshitela also claims that the FBI refused to show him a search warrant and that they took his cell phones and other devices from his home. It was only later that Yeshitela learned that the raid on his home was only a part of several raids across the country against locations affiliated with the APSP. That same day, the FBI raided the Uhuru Solidarity Center, also in St. Louis, and the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida, both locations of Uhuru movement led by the African People's Socialist Party. So this was the government trying to squash free speech and squash dissent. That's all this is.
Now, I want to touch this through the spirit because, again, while this is about a so-called Black liberation movement, we understand through prophecy, all right, through the scriptures, that eventually this machine is going to be geared towards the ministry, all right, and that is going to begin the persecution, if you will, all right. Real quick, this is John chapter 15 and 20, and it reads, "Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also." All right, so we have to keep this in mind as well, because again, all right, Esau is going to come down with great wrath. All right, he's already tried to demonize this truth. All right, and there's still a continual campaign to demonize this truth. All right, you still have even those amongst the circumcision, all right, who use, their connection with Esau through the 501c3 to demonize the truth in its raw, uncut form. All right, but eventually Esau is going to turn this machine on the entire ministry. All right, and when I say the entire ministry, those who identify themselves as Israelites, Esau is going to come down with great wrath. All right, so even these groups that have aligned themselves through the 501c3 with Esau, when this flood comes in, they're going to be taken by it too. He's not going to discriminate. All right. Those who have made lies their refuge are people who have sided with Esau outside of being Israelites. All right. Esau is going to use this legislation to come down with great wrath. All right. Because when you look at this, this is a black liberation movement. All right. When you look at what they're a part of, what their message is, it doesn't have anything to do with being an Israelite. All right. But this is an example of the censorship that's coming down the pipeline. Now, over there in the UK, they already locking people up for saying certain things on the internet. But we see there's a global push. All right. And that's why the Lord brought these things to our understanding in the scriptures to warn us, so that when it happens, you don't get offended. All right. This is Amos 8:11. And it reads, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it." All right. And the Lord is going to use Esau as a tool to do that. All right. He's a major part of the tools that's going to be used to remove this truth from the open access. Because right now, the truth is basically flooded the internet. Well, when Esau brings the hammer down, all right, what's going to end up happening is this truth is going to be withdrawn, all right, on a large scale. Now, in the midst of that, again, persecution is going to happen. All right, real quick. This is Luke chapter 21. Let's start at 10. All right, and it reads, "Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against You know what? Let me start up. Let's start at 7. All right, and it reads, "And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach. And the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you, and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony." All right. Now, this is beautiful through the Spirit, because, Yahweh Shai, he was persecuted. The disciples who became the apostles, they were persecuted. All right. When you deal with the history of the apostles and the disciples and their relationship with Rome, there's a theory of why they were persecuted. But we know through the Spirit that one of the main reasons that they were persecuted, all right, as far as Roman law, was basically treason. All right, so let's go here real quick. All right, so this is persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire. I'm just going to jump down to reasons. All right, I'll read this portion of it, and then I'm going to jump down. All right, it says, A.N. Sherwin-White records that serious discussion of the reasons for Roman persecution of Christians began in 1890, when it produced 20 years of controversy and 3 main opinions. First, there was the theory held by most French and Belgian scholars that there was a general enactment precisely formulated and valid for the whole empire, which forbade the practice of the Christian religion. The origin of this is most commonly attributed to Nero, but sometimes to Domitian. This has evolved into a common law theory, which gives great weight to Tertullian's description of prosecution resulting from the accusation of the name as being Nero's plan. Nero had an older resolution forbidding the introduction of new religions, but the application to Christians is seen as coming from the much older Republican principle that it was a capital offense to introduce a new superstition without the authorization of the Roman state. Now I want to jump down. It says Sherwin White adds that this theory might explain persecution in Rome, but it fails to explain it in the provinces. All right, now let me jump down to the point. All right, it says this. I'll start here. It says Sherwin White says this third opinion has usually been combined with the coercion theory, but some scholars have attributed all Christian persecution to a single criminal charge, notably treason or illegal assembly or the introduction of an alien cult. All right, so, when you look at the history, and it's easy to see why it will fall under treason, okay, or sedition. All right, because again, what's happening now, there's no new thing under the sun. All right, so these things are coming back to fruition as Esau prepares to come down with great wrath. All right, and this is the groundwork. This is how it's being laid out. Now, this article that he pulled up, I have this article here, and it was from August 1st, 2022. Now, the relevance is the reason he's bringing this out as in a week ago is because they're now on trial. All right. And if convicted, he faces 15 years. All right. Now, I'm talking about the leader of this movement. All right. It says trial begins of 4 accused of helping Russia sow political division in the U.S. So that's the charge. All right. They're being charged with sowing division. All right. Sowing discord. All right. And you can see how this easily relates, how Esau could easily use this, all right, to come down with great wrath. All right, now let me just jump to, I'll just read the top. It says the trial began in Florida Tuesday of 4 activists accused of illegally acting as Russian agents to help the Kremlin sow political discord and interfere in U.S. elections. All 4 are or were affiliated with African People's Socialist Party and Uhuru Movement, which has locations in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis. Among those charged is Omali Yeshitila, the 82-year-old chairman of the U.S.-based organization focused on Black empowerment and the effort to obtain reparations for slavery and what it considers the past genocide of Africans. All right, now, again, he's facing up to 15 years if convicted. But this is Esau's slow, bureaucratic way of setting it up for that flood. All right, and this is why the Lord said this, jumping back into Luke, the 21st chapter. All right, Luke 21:14, and it reads, settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. So I'm going to start up again. Luke 21:12, but before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren, and kinsfolk and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. So this is Yahushua exhorting, all right? And this happened to the apostles, all right, the disciples who became the apostles. And it's going to come back around again, all right, because Esau's in his season finale. And as he sees the writing on the wall, he's going to unleash all of his weapons, his entire arsenal. And a part of that is the slander, all right, the sword of the tongue. All right, he's going to use that to justify what he's going to do. All right, and this is why through the Spirit the Lord said, settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. All right. And then, this, you can link this up with Matthew, the 6th chapter, where the Lord talks about taking no thought. Because ultimately the Lord gave us the blueprint of how it's going to go down, of what Esau's going to do. All right. And what we see now doesn't shock us or surprise us, because again, this is what Esau, the Lord said he would do this. All right. Before America was even thought of as a concept, the Lord had already set this up and said what was going to happen before it happened. So we understand that Esau is setting everything up to come down with great wrath. As he did before in Rome, in this revived Roman Empire, he's going to do it again. All right. If you notice, he sent guys like Vocab, James White, to discourage, to demonize, to try to make this truth look silly. But now, after that, now that he sees that you cannot overthrow this, he's going to come down with great wrath. All right, and this is why Yahweh Shai warned and exhorted, all right, to prepare your hearts. All right, real quick, this is 2nd Esdras 16. And let's jump down to 40. All right, and it reads, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle. And in those days, and in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. All right, why? And that starts with a mindset. The mindset of ultimately understanding that this is not the end all be all. We are not defined by possessions. That ultimately the will of the Lord is to destroy the fashion of this world. And we can't even bring our bodies with us. All right, even these bodies are going to be changed. So being a pilgrim starts mentally. So when Esau does come down with great wrath, it's not going to come as a great shock to the elect, because this is expected. Esau's expected to come down with great wrath. He's expected to slander this truth, and he's expected to persecute. And that is going to come down. And, when you look at it through the Spirit, the Lord said he will begin at his house first. That's going to be used as a tool, all right, concerning those who know that they're Israelites, all right, but they've taken the deal with Esau behind closed doors, all right. They've held the truth in unrighteousness concerning the full truth. They've mocked the messengers of the Lord, even knowing that they're Israelites. Esau coming down with great wrath is going to be a tool used to correct that. All right. Real quick, this is Romans 13 and 3. And it reads, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Without then not be afraid of the power, do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of Yahweh Shemel Shai to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of Yahweh Shemel Shai, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Because you think about it, Esau setting up to come down with great wrath is going to begin at the house of the Lord, which is Jake. All right, even Jake, that is going to begin with those who understand that they're Israelites, but it's also going to, on a broader scale, deal with Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, Jake is going to take the blame for why this country is in the condition that it's in. Esau's going to use that accusation as a way to vent his frustration. All right, which means he's going to come down to them ghettos, all right, to them favelas, wherever Jake is, and they're going to, just like they did during chattel slavery and antebellum, all right, whenever they got frustrated, they took it out on you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Well, the Lord is setting Esau up to do that again. All right, and 2/3 of our people are going to be swallowed up in that, all right, as well as those who understand that they're Israelites. But they've taken that deal with Esau, all right, behind closed doors. All right, they've held the truth in unrighteousness. All right, they've mocked the messengers of the Lord. They made sport of his prophets. Because when you deal with the ancient world, all right, the ones who were buffeting Jeremiah, those were Israelites. Those were Israelites that knew that they were Israelites. Those who mocked the messengers of the Lord in the ancient times still knew that they were Israelites. All right, real quick, this is Isaiah 28. And I'll jump down to 14. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people, which is in Jerusalem, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Right? Because you have particular camps that, try to actively distance themselves from other Israelites, which, okay. But when Esau comes down with great wrath, he's not going to discriminate. And ultimately, that's the spirit of the Lord. Because, again, when we go back to Romans, the 13th chapter, it says he's a minister of Yahweh Shema Shai, meaning Esau is a tool that the Lord is using. All right. And this persecution, while it is going to try the elect, it is really meant, it's going to drown 2/3 of our people. All right. When Esau comes in like a flood and that standard is set up, Esau coming in like a flood is going to be used through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai to number 2/3 of our people to the sword. All right. Now, again, all of them are not going to fall by the sword. Some are going to fall in famine and pestilence. But the Lord's going to use Esau coming down with great wrath to execute judgment. So our scriptures say he beareth not the sword in vain. So what he's doing to black liberation movements, even so-called white supremacist groups that are getting raided, Scott Ritter, these truthers that are getting raided. Ultimately, Esau's getting the ball rolling, and he's touching all of these different spaces. So when he starts to touch this truth, all right, people won't look at it as a strange thing. It's through gradualism. All right. And this is why through the Spirit, the Lord gave us the scriptures to comfort us. So we can see these things play out, but we're not shaken by that. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. All right, let's go here. It's Isaiah 29:20. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. And it shows you how hypocritical Esau is, because again, this is the man who championed freedom of speech. And now as you fast forward to 2024, they're basically using, this government is using its tools to censor and to squash rebellion, all right, or dissent, as this guy described. And this is going to open the door again to sedition, to actual sedition, dealing with Edomite on Edomite violence. Because again, when Esau comes in like a flood, all right, Jake is going to be affected, but everybody else is going to be affected too. At this point, the elites are not discriminating. All right, we're witnessing, all right, even when you deal with a guy, Scott Ritter, being raided, that was an example of Esau, using the government to censor. Because a lot of information about Russia and Ukraine and that conflict and geopolitics, a lot of that information comes out of guys like Scott Ritter, truthers, Dabu 7. Now they're beginning to get raided. Their passports are being taken when they try to leave the country. It's not going to stop there. It's just Esau putting all his ducks in a row. So when he comes in like a flood, people won't look at it like, why are you pointing these guys out? Why did you, if these guys are so crazy, why are you pointing them out? See, Esau's touching everybody else first, so that when he does come down against this truth, it won't be a strange thing to the population. All right, so I would just want to go into that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, because I saw the video, me personally through the spirit, probably like 7 to 8 minutes. Well, you get to the 11-minute mark. It's decent. I didn't watch the whole thing, because really the point is that Esau he's on the mount, man. All right. He's beginning to put all his ducks in a row. Because remember, this happened in 2022, but they're still in trial. All right. That trial just begun 2 years later. All right. And this shows you that Esau is setting up everything, putting everything in place to eventually come down with great wrath, man. All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying with that. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah. And a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, and all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.